Alright, Merts, welcome to the CineMerts Podcast. We're Max Coulson and Levi Johnson. We're a couple of guys who like films, get all the films, film, get all the films, put them together, film. Today we watched Rubber.
Yeah, when you first said, hey, do you want to watch Rubber? I was like, what's this, like a film about, like, condoms? That was my first thought. Then you showed me the poster for it, and I was like, I saw the trailer. I don't even remember the trailer, in all honesty. I just remember seeing a trailer that had a killer tire in it. Mm-hmm. So my brain went to, so basically there's a tire that's going to, like Sonic Spin Dash and like run into people all over the place. And it's going to be like semi-horror where the people are like just running away from this tire trying to stop him or kill him. And he's just running them over. And when they get run over, they get crushed and like their heads explode as they're getting crushed. But that's not what this film is about.
No, that's so not this movie.
Yeah.
I think the thing is that the poster for the film went sort of semi-viral. And I think in the same way that something like Sharknado or Kung Fury sort of went viral where it's like, oh, look at this crazy movie. Well, it's definitely that, but probably not in the way that like 90% of people would imagine it would be. Now, I was a little more in on what the movie was when I first saw it, because I'm somewhat familiar with the director, Quentin Dupieux, I think his name's pronounced.
Right.
Or also known as his alias in music, Mr. Wazzo, who did the, I don't know if you remember the Levi jeans adverts with Flat Eric, the little yellow dude.
Oh,
that's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did that. That's his music. And Flat Eric is his mascot.
Oh, I'm sad it didn't make an appearance.
I looked out for it. There's this theory that that the tire is the reincarnation of Flat Eric, which I really like. But anyway,
oh my god, the rubber sound effect each time. That could be the
yeah.
Oh my god. Well, that's now my thought for
it. I don't know how much of a plot rundown we can do for this because I mean, plot is a tricky concept.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I wasn't ready for this movie, man. No. I was like, okay, I'm reasonably a clever guy. There's at least 3 cells up there, so I can see some things. And then they had a thing where it was like, what's the reason why you don't see people go to the bathroom in, I don't know,
Texas Chainsaw
Massacre? It's like, no reason. So, he said that there's lots of things that happen in movies and there's no real reason. Like, in romance movies, why do the 2 characters fall in love? No. I was like, huh.
That's the thing. Every single thing he lists has a really obvious meaning to it.
Yes.
Every single one has an obvious reason.
So, my then thoughts were, the film's going to have a very obvious reason to it. You just have to think about it a little bit. And I ain't going to lie, man.
I've yet to find one.
I can't find one.
I've yet to find. I mean, I've seen the film a few times now. I think this would be my 4th or 5th viewing, I think.
Okay, well, at least I don't feel like a complete idiot. I'm like, this is kind of half of the fun. Like, where obviously I'm not saying the movie's like dog shit, but like sometimes there'll be like a really shit piece of media, but it'll have like a question in it, and that question will then spark off this awful like questioning debate about, oh yeah, actually here we go, here's a movie, I can tell you an exact movie that's fucking god awful, it's trash, but people like to think about it and go, oh, maybe it's really good, what's going on? 2001 Space Odyssey, yeah, fuck everyone. I'm like, it's just bad. Stop it, guys. Like, stop pretending. Like, Yes, I'm saying this movie is better than 2001 Space Odyssey. Bring all the hate.
I don't hate 2001 on anywhere near the level you do. To me, it's just like, hey, that was sci-fi in the 60s. It's just slow. It's just that this one was like that, but with good effects. Like it's not a great standout movie to me. It's just it is what it is. All the interesting stuff happens in the last 15 minutes of a very long movie, which is pretty inexcusable. Like,
hey, how becoming sentient? That's pretty interesting. Oh, the whole movie's not really about. Well, fine.
Look, the first
whole
half
movie
of the
is about that because it's establishing the monolith. Yes, I get it. It's still no, I don't like it. Get out of here.
Well, look, if you want to understand what happens, you've got to buy the book that came out at the same time, and that has all of the necessary information to actually figuring out what's supposed to be happening. Because Kubrick took one look at the script and removed all the dialogue. Anyway, Rubber. Yeah, plot rundown's going to be difficult. And I'm not really going to attempt it. Because this movie doesn't really have a plot. It's more just a random sequence of events. It tricks you into thinking there's going to be a plot several times. And then, like, treats you like an idiot for thinking that there was going to be one. It's like the film actively makes fun of you for thinking, oh no, this film's going to start to make some sense. No, it's not. Fuck you. And that's sort of the...
Yeah. Like, it's so baffling.
So, I think I've got a good starting point for this, because it's the first thing we really learn in the movie is that it's kind of a film within a film, but not really. Because there is an audience who are watching, but they're actually watching the events unfold in real time just through binoculars. But they refer to it as a film. They treat it like they're watching a film, but they're not.
Like, it was so weird because it would even make more sense for them to treat it as a play. But they don't.
No, they explicitly say film. They always say, and they even say things like, "Is this going to be in black and white or colour?" Despite the fact that they're actually watching it in real life. And there's this kind of, I was going to say B plot, but that implies there's an A plot of the audience. Okay, so the character that introduces the no meaning or no reason, speech. The police chief guy, he introduces the film to the audience and to us at the same time, as in the fictional audience.
So it's clearly establishing that those audience members are supposed to be our surrogate or stand-ins.
At least at first. Until they start to poison the audience so that they can stop doing the film.
Yeah, I was going to say, I felt that might partly be a thing. I was like, is it partly to say, hey, now that no one, at this point, most regular people have stopped watching. And the fact that one person didn't eat the food, that's us who continue to remain watching the movie.
Which is interesting because that guy is portrayed as a stubborn piece of shit.
Right? Because...
I like that theory.
While watching it, but I was kind of like, is this a commentary kind of on us? Where we're still forcibly watching this movie and he's kind of half saying, you should have left. But now you're just forcing me to try and put on more of a movie. It was just a mild idea. Maybe this is him, he shot a trailer and then everyone was like, make a movie. And then he did, but didn't really have a great idea because he was like, it was just a fucking tire that killed a guy. And then he's like, great, now you guys are still here and you're making me make this movie. I don't know what to do, so fuck it. Because I was kind of thinking, is the police chief a stand-in for the director himself? I still don't understand who his servant guy is, seeing as he eats the poisoned food just without even thinking about it.
While confessing to murdering his brother. Which sort of in a weird way reminds me of... Do you remember that bit in Gremlins when it's you know why I don't believe in Father Christmas? Because my dad dressed as Father Christmas and he fell down the chimney and broke his neck. And and it's never referenced again. I mean, this is kind of like a whole movie of that, but like that scene in particular really reminds me of that. Like this character just with no prompting, just confesses to callously murdering his brother for no reason.
Like
again, no reason, but
the weird thing. Sorry, I'm on the thing with Gremlins. Never mind. No, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's 3 ways to look at this movie. There's 3 ways to experience this movie. There is to sit there and drive yourself mad trying to figure out every single thing you're seeing, which I think was your experience for the most part.
Yeah.
There is getting annoyed and shutting it off right at the beginning, or there's doing what I do, which is just like, film funny. Which is probably why I'm able to watch films like this. Because like, I can kind of, like, look, I can analyse little bits and pieces of it, but at the same time, I can just kind of absorb it and just be like, hey, this is kind of funny. My favourite moment in the whole film, actually, is when there's this woman, the only woman that has any real presence in the movie apart from, like, the cleaner in the motel.
My main thoughts were, like, director's wife.
I think you're not. I think you're probably right. I mean, she's French. The director's French. She's the only French person in the movie. There's a random shot of her ass.
Yeah.
Which there's no other nudity or anything in the whole movie. So you're probably right there. Anyway, she there's a scene of her in a cafe, and I love it. It's really short, but it is. Everything I love about this movie is summed up in this tiny little moment. She's sitting, like, eating her breakfast. She takes her glass of orange juice, pours it all over her plate, gets up and leaves the cafe. But when she leaves the cafe, the doors are just kind of sitting in the frame and they just fall out.
Like, that moment really reminded me of when we tried to make the Flemmer's movie. And
right.
what was it? I walked off in a certain direction just for no reason, and you're like, yeah, but Levi, we kind of established in a shot that there was nothing that way, so maybe we should reshoot it. And then you're like, actually, no. And then that just became like a running gag.
Yeah, the running joke became that we paid super close attention to the actual geography of the room. Which, look, if you've never really looked into filmmaking. Generally speaking, when you shoot a scene, the geography of the actual space you're filming in isn't that important. Basically, if it's never been seen by the camera, it doesn't exist. So if there happens to be a wall right next to you, if you haven't shot that wall, then it doesn't exist. So you can have a character just walk off stage, but actually they're walking right into a wall. What we decided to do was actually pay close attention to that. So when the camera angle changed, you see them walk straight up to a wall and then have to adjust their positioning to leave.
Like, just really strict continuity for no reason.
Ironically, well, not ironically, but pretty much was one of the contributing factors to why that film probably failed. Because we took so much extra time filming this dumb shit for no reason. But yeah, this is like a whole movie where every decision feels like
that genuinely felt like that moment. Like, she pushes the door out of the frame. Like, one of them falls off completely. The other one kind of half gets stuck. And there's this kind of, I don't know, I can kind of internally sense it. Like, she doesn't react, but I can kind of half sense the thought was, well, that was supposed to fall, but we're just doing it, so just carry on, and we just keep rolling. We just keep going with it. Like, there was that kind of feeling in there. I was like this film is just doing stuff for the sake of it. Like, someone on the set was like, yeah, I just want that to happen. And then they go, why? Well, could you imagine the person in the audience who's going like, why the fuck did that happen? It's like, yeah, that's going to be hilarious. And that's basically why they shot it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I do think it does have that feel to it. I mean, there's a lot of, again, no reason moments the film's built around them. It actually opens with one, which basically it's this wide shot of the desert at first, and there's chairs. Actually, first you see close-ups of the chairs, But either way, there's this desert and it's just full of folding chairs, just randomly scattered around. And a car starts to come closer. It's this long take. This car's coming gradually closer, and drives into every single one of the chairs before stopping.
Which I also like the fact that one of the guys was like, "Did they have to destroy all of the chairs? We could have sat on those."
Again, it's one of those things. Asking logical questions doesn't help you with this film, but sometimes it can actually elevate it. And one of those things for me is, what's this setup? Why are these people here? What's...
Like, they just got sleeping bags in the middle of the desert, like out in the complete open.
None of them brought food, and we're expected to be fed.
Like, they don't even have water.
No.
And then, like, when just before they're poisoned, like, the dude just rocks up with a chicken and
turkey.
A turkey, yeah. He just shows up with a turkey and just drops it.
Yeah.
And they also start eating it.
Yeah, this is right after they kind of definitely intentionally make it look like he's about to bang the turkey. Because at first the turkey's alive in his hotel room. And the way they shoot it, like, he's, like, sort of not fully dressed.
He's got his trousers off.
Yeah,
like,
he's acting kind of
underpants.
shifty on the phone. And then you see that it's this reverse shot, and you see the turkey, like, looking up at him. And it definitely, like, feels like...
Oh, he's about to try and have sex with that turkey, huh?
Maybe he wasn't, and he just got the phone call and had to...
Yeah.
got interrupted. It's like that. He talks to his master, who's the police chief, calls him master exclusively. Yeah, very, very bizarre. To the point that I will admit I'm struggling to think of, like, points to make. One thing I will bring up is that it's really fun watching a film where everything's done in camera.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, to be honest, the cinematography is really nice.
It's very good.
It's like, hey, we're making a dumb movie. By the way, we all know exactly what we're doing.
What's crazy is, I mean, the cinematography was done by Quentin Dupieux himself.
Oh.
I think it was a one-camera setup.
Yeah,
and,
I could see that.
Yeah, and like I say, and all the effects are done in camera. There's no, like, I don't even think there's anything in the way of, like, much trick photography other than reversing stuff and things like that.
What, 2 shots I think that are played backwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were really proud of yourself when you spotted the first
Yeah,
one.
like part of watching the whole film, I was going, can I figure out how they did this? Like, I'm sure there's quite a lot of times where they just rolled the camera down, but I was like, is there like a remote control car inside the tire that's trying to like keep close to the
way it? That it moves, I feel like there must have been at certain points some sort of motor in it. It seems that way. The way it moves kind of jankily, where like it will roll a little bit, then it kind of awkwardly slows down and then speeds back up again. Makes me think that there's some sort of motor in there at times. But that's the real fun of watching something where, like I say, all the effects are done in camera, because you're not going to have those questions when it's CG. And that's not me like shitting on CG. It's just fun when it's like this, where
yeah.
You can kind of be, oh hey, I wonder how this one was done. But yeah, when it's the bit where it's going up the step.
Yeah, it's quite a large step, and the way it goes up, like it rolls into a thing, like right up to the step, and then it goes up, just like very like cleanly, and then like rolls over a bit. I was like, they reversed the footage. Like, oh, that was wicked. Like, yeah. I was really happy to see that.
It's an odd thing to say. I said it in the middle of the movie as well, but it's the tire effects are really good. And I will say this: the tire itself seems to have a lot of character to it. Weirdly so. You wouldn't think a completely inanimate object like that could have character.
It's interesting that they, like, partly what I did as well was recreate the film in my mind with a person as the lead character, essentially.
Yeah.
So where he gets up out of the thing. I just imagined a person struggling to get up and then walking a little bit and stumbling and walking a bit, stumbling, blah, blah, blah. And when he came up to the first thing you see, he comes up upon a bottle, a plastic bottle. And the first thing he does is he just goes, I'm going to roll over it. Which was also really, annoying for me because it was confirmation of, oh man, he's going to start spin dashing into stuff, man. This is going to be wicked. So he like rolls into that. Then there's like a glass bottle that he sees, and the same thing happens. He rolls onto it.
He rolls over it. And
can't break it, which, made me sad because I realised, oh no, he's not going to spin dash it. And he has psychic powers. I was like, oh, okay. And then, he comes across a scorpion, and then he runs over the scorpion. And I was like, oh, you see? So he's established that he likes to break things, damage things. Yeah. Then he's killing an insect, kills a bird.
Well, that's what I think. That's what I think so interesting with the glass bottle, because it's like it's angry that it didn't break it by running it over. Like it feels like, because it keeps trying to. It goes over it. It rolls over it one way, then rolls over it the other way. Tries to break it. It doesn't break. And then it kind of vibrates, I guess, and there's this kind of sound frequency in it. Yeah, and the bottle explodes. But it's like, okay, it actively wants to break shit and destroy things. It's just how it is. And it's, like I say, it's weird, but you can kind of see, like, its emotion in doing that.
It is so weird because I was like, wait, so the tire is Andrew from Chronicle? Like, I was watching it going like, holy shit, man. Like, 2 in a row.
The weird thing is, I think the tire has the most actual character out of anyone in the film. Everyone else is so stilted and bizarre. And I said while we were watching it, the dialogue is very stilted. And I'm not 100% sure of how much is even intentional. There are a lot of weird things where these are American actors, but the words they use would make more sense being spoken by British actors. Like, they say things like rubbish instead of trash. And they always say film and not movie, which is, it feels very British.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think about that.
And obviously, when French people learn English, they tend to learn English, not American English. So I wonder whether or not that was like a conscious decision to make it seem more awkward and weird, or whether it was just that's how he felt natural writing. Yeah,
could be.
But it is something I noticed, like, the first time watching it, that it was like a little bit strange, like some of the dialogue. And I mean, it is very off anyway. It's very stilted. Sometimes clearly intentionally, like, there's a moment when the police chief thinks that the audience have all died from eating the turkey, except there's the one stubborn asshole who didn't eat it. And he's like, immediately, okay, we're done. You can go back to your families. Everything's fine. It's all fake.
Yeah, the weird thing in that scene is he confirms that it is fake. Like, he's got a fake badge. But then he starts getting shot. And he's like, yeah, see, look, nothing. It's fake. See? Squibs. Doesn't call him squibs. But, yeah, he's like, yep, so whatever, man. Like, movie's over. And they're like, yeah, but we've got a dead body. Like, what? Like, yeah, there's a dead body. Like, slap her around a little. She doesn't have a head. Like, yeah, like, you shake her up. She's still dead. She's pretty cold. Like,
what I like about that is that it's like, wait, so while the audience are alive, it is real, but then it becomes fake when it's over.
But the thing that was weird, because I thought this is what I thought was going to happen. I thought the police chief, because that guy was still watching, he was going to get shot, and it was going to be real. And he'd get shot, and then he would go, oh, damn it, someone's still watching, what an asshole. And then he would die because of the logic of the film at that point. And maybe that would be what causes an issue because, now he's trapped within the fake movie world while, the guy is watching.
But no, not really.
No.
Again, kind of tricking you into thinking there's about to be a plot.
And
they abandon it about as quickly. I mean, it kind of comes up again right near the end, but...
I liked at the end of the movie, if you actually pay attention, like, because the tire comes back as a tricycle.
Reincarnated as a tricycle.
And then that dude's like, no, I'm not one of the characters in the movie. I'm just a watcher. Well, he gets blown up bigger than anyone.
Yeah.
Which I'm going back to my theory on this thing, this guy being the surrogate for audience members who watched it. My thoughts are, is that him kind of being like, yeah, like, well, you who watched the movie, fuck you, there was no point, and this is you going like, what? I watched the whole thing and nothing happened? Like...
Yeah, well, I think that's the great thing as well, because apart from some really good shots towards the end, the movie does basically just kind of stop more than it ends.
Yeah.
And in a very intentionally blunt way, where basically they try and blow up the tire with a dummy, and the scene goes on for ages. They have the, again, possibly director's wife, trying to goad the tire into blowing up the dummy through a walkie-talkie.
Because apparently the tire can't tell the difference between a person and a mannequin.
And then the police chief takes over because she doesn't want to read the bad dialogue.
Maybe the dialogue is intentional. Maybe that was a meta commentary.
Yeah. And then she takes over again, and then they're interrupted by the stubborn moviegoer who wants to hurry the scene along. Anyway, they eventually have him blow up the dummy head, and the plastic explosives that are wired to the dummy don't go off. It's just like, oh yeah, you thought you were going to get a cool explosion now. And again, this sort of audience surrogate guy is like, oh, come on, you promised me that you'd blow up the dummy. And instead he just walks in, the police chief just walks into the motel room with a shotgun, shoots and kills the tire off screen, throws the tire at the audience member and goes, there, the end. The tire is reincarnated as a tricycle, and blows up the audience member, and that's it. Nothing else happens. That's the movie. It's it is this real fuck you attitude to the whole thing.
It's so baffling, but it does make the film kind of hilarious.
Yeah, it's the Freddy got fingered effect.
Yeah,
it's a lot funnier when you detach yourself from it a little bit. I mean, they are different, but it is that kind of trolling through a movie, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And
like,
it also makes sense.
Troll your audience, man.
Again, as someone who follows Mr. Wazzo's music, he trolls people through his music as well, constantly. And if you want an example of that, guys, listen to the track Bruce Willis is Dead and tell me that that's not one of the greatest trolls in the history of music. I will play it to you afterwards.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess, I mean, it's a very short movie. It's only like... it's an hour and 15 minutes, which is barely feature length. Most feature length TV episodes are longer than that. Which again, I feel like lends itself to the kind of trolly nature of it, because it definitely feels like there could be more movie.
Well, they kind of end the movie on like a... Not necessarily a cliffhanger, but like a statement of there will be more.
The weird thing is, if it was a different movie, I'd call it sequel bait.
Yeah, exactly.
There is no universe in which this movie gets in a sequel. I don't think he's ever considered making a sequel. I I don't think I could see it getting funded.
Maybe someone who like buys the rights or something. Like we just get rich enough and then it's like, well, now we're gonna like make a sequel.
I don't know what the hell it'd be.
Hey, it would be pure unadulterated. Also, I would probably change the thing. There will be spin dashes in there, man. Like it will happen.
Just have it have a really serious tone.
Oh yeah,
just
like,
nothing tonally completely different to the first one.
Yeah. I mean, like I would make it. See, this is how I would like to troll an audience. Like, just treat it deathly serious. No hint of irony whatsoever. Completely deadpan. But have whatever is trying to kill you just the most ridiculous thing ever. Like, if like I did, it, I'll keep it all like ridiculous. But the clown, I wouldn't even have like a sinister looking thing. It would just be, he's just a really cheap fucking clown thing. But then like he just has like supernatural powers and it's just a guy with a voice, like regular voice. Like,
hey, how you doing?
Like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you. Like that's it. Like gonna eat your soul. just so dead. But like everyone acts like it's horrifying, like he's got a demonic no. Yeah.
Down here everything floats.
Yes. See?
Oh my god, I actually kind of want to see that movie. It's like we just get Rod from Birdemic. Anyways, with his like crappy enunciation and everything. So it's
like mumbling his life.
Down here everything floats.
Wow, I'm sure it's a good movie. An inconvenient truth.
Oh man, I want to watch Birdemic again.
Oh,
that movie's great.
That movie is great. Yes, I was going to say, you thought that I made an odd reference before in Pain and Gain. Well, one thing I did notice is, I was like, wait, so the Tyres got Eustace's hair growing powers from Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Wow.
Like, cause he would get angry and then be like, and then something would explode. Like, he's literally got Eustace's powers from Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I was not prepared for that reference. Honestly, I was nothing could have prepared me for that. I have honestly not thought about that episode of that show since I first saw it on Cartoon Network.
Like, at the end of the episode, he blows himself up because he blew himself up because he was trying to grow the hair and finally hair came through, but it was one. So he got mad at the one hair, causing that one hair to blow up, blowing him up.
Oh, Courage was such a great show.
Yeah, it was.
Came right at the wrong end of the Cartoon Network kind of thing though, because it was kind of right before, I guess, the kind of dark age of Cartoon Network, after all the really good shows like Dexter's Lab, but before kind of its resurgence, I guess, with stuff like Regular Show. It was in that kind of dead zone for a while where there was just nothing really coming out. I
don't know though. Like I would say it's just close enough to still count as being in the good zone.
Yeah, I mean it's a really good show, but yeah, it's just within that kind of that great era. But I think it's a little bit too late for a lot of people to remember it as fondly as things like, things like Ed, Edd and Eddy or.
But that's because Ed, Edd and Eddy is just gold.
It is.
I still stand by it is the best show that was on Cartoon Network. That thing was actually painfully funny. I remember being in physical pain as a child as to how funny that show was.
Honestly, I've revisited it as an adult a couple of times and it really holds up.
Oh, really?
A lot of those shows don't. Like
I know a lot of shows also have a second thing. Like Johnny Bravo, I really appreciate a lot more as an adult
That
than I did as a
happens,
kid.
yeah. I would say that about Cow and Chicken to an extent as well. Like, there's a lot of shit I just did not get in Cow and Chicken. Ed, Edd n Eddy's not so much like that.
No.
There's nowhere near as much of it. There's occasional things like odd little references and things.
Magazines.
Usually pop culture stuff. There's a lot of references to movies and stuff that I just didn't get as a kid. Apart from the really, really obvious stuff. But it just holds up in that the humour in it's very like character based.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that even though I do still like shows like Cow and Chicken, and again there are jokes in it that I just did not get as a kid, a lot of the humour is just, it's low random. You know what I mean? Yeah. Ultimately, as funny as it is and as effective as it is. But Ed, Edd n Eddy is just really good at like tethering the humour to the characters. You're not going to get random humour from really any character other than Ed.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes it quite justified. Like, I don't know, I think my favourite episode is the episode when all the kids are sick. And it's just Eddie, and then he goes insane because he doesn't have anyone to scam. At the end of the episode, his brain explodes to popcorn.
While we're talking about Ed, Edd n Eddy, I have tried... I've actually tried to write it into screenplays before, but I've also tried to do this in real life, and I've never successfully managed it, but I would really love to convince someone that Ed, Edd n Eddy is political satire, and the thing is, I got so entrenched in this decision and getting into the headspace of how I could justify that I started to kind of believe it. So it started with the three Eds, right? So you've got Eddie is the kind of, he's the libertarian. He's the right-wing libertarian. He's always trying to get kind of rich quick, and always at the expense of other people. You've got Double D. Double D's the liberal because, he morally opposes a lot of the things that the two Eds do. Ed and Eddie do. But Double D, he still goes along with it. He just voices his opinion, but then he continues to do exactly what they're doing. Then of course you've got Ed, who is he's the Alex Jones nut. He's that kind of Republican, the what would be QAnon now, he gets obsessed with these conspiracy theories, and his understanding of real life versus fantasy are just non-existent basically. And then you've got Rolf,
the son of a shepherd.
The son of a shepherd. Symbol of the proletariat.
Yeah. And what? That episode where he gets into a duel with Eddie is him beating up fascism. He's gonna slap you up with the fish. Okay.
You can see how I started to kind of warp my own perception of it, where I'm like, wait, am I right? There's no way I could be right.
Hey man, you can overanalyze anything to anywhere if you really want to. And it's great. After you said it to me, I was like, you might be right. I don't know, Double D being a lib really got me.
I don't know so much where the others fit in. I always said that what's Ed's sister called? Sarah. She's like Cheney. You know what I mean? She's like Cheney to Ed's Bush. You know what I mean? Where she's kind of brains. That's kind of, she's angry and horrible and reprehensible, but she manipulates people.
Wait, wouldn't that make her Thatcher?
Well, no, because Thatcher isn't up front. She needs to be a background conservative, a backbencher, somebody who pulls the strings from behind. She doesn't really get her hands dirty. She has, I'm so bad with names at the moment.
Jimmy.
She has Jimmy do it. Jimmy does the dirty work. Does that mean Jimmy's George Bush?
Ha!
It falls apart a little bit at that point. I'm not gonna lie.
There is one episode where Jimmy actually is like, surprise, you all think that I'm this little whiny cryy kid, but I am actually manipulating all of you. There is actually an episode where that happens.
I don't remember that episode. That's kind of cool though.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
So, maybe.
I don't know where the fuck Johnny and Plank could fit in. That's a little difficult.
I think they're probably some other form of proletariat. They
could be just, I guess, I don't know, the victims of capitalism. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where they would fit. When I do think about it though, I'm like, I think that's probably where they fall.
The best direct, obviously, parallel for poverty would be the Canker sisters, because they literally are living in a trailer park. I mean, everyone in Ed, Edd n Eddy's poor. That's the one thing that I didn't really notice as a kid, but when you revisit, it's like, oh, holy shit! They actually are all dirt poor. They're living in some shitty suburb.
Yeah, I guess.
And I mean, from what I've heard, apparently it's kind of based on the writers' childhoods a little bit. So I think it's that. But it's an unusual thing, because I think usually in cartoons you generally just expect the two parents at home middle class thing. No, you don't know their parent situations, because there are no parents in Ed, Edd n Eddy. It's the endless summer holiday where it's just the kids.
Yeah.
And when they started going to school, I didn't.
I don't remember the ending, but apparently I went online to have a look around, and people are like, so this is the only show that has a good ending?
Really?
Yeah. They're like, yeah, they actually did it justice. So I was like, okay. They obviously they do mention there was decline. They're like, every show has a decline if you actually look at it.
Yeah.
But Ed, Edd n Eddy consistently avoids it better than most of the others.
So that concludes our review of Rubber.
Yeah. I was just saying.
You know, I'm not going to try and get back on track. Fuck it.
I was saying.
Fuck it. This is now the Ed, Edd n Eddy podcast.
I was going to say, did you want to put that on a bonus and be like, hey guys,
no.
We have a bonus?
No, it's going on. So this is just the Ed, Edd n Eddy one now. You know what? No reason. Fuck it, Ian Beale.